Hello, hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Amelia.
Bao, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for waiting patiently
Thank
while
you.
we get things set up. Very nice red glasses, Amelia.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
I just wondering whether some of my friends are here, Alina and
Huh? Yeah, me too.
Sorry, go ahead, Amelia.
I just wondering whether some of my friends are here. How many people you have so far?
It's everyone you see here. We did have a lot of signups, but people might come in as a time
Okay.
passes. Great. Awesome. Well, the time is now 6:07, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We will be recording this workshop as well. That way you could have a look at it later on our YouTube
Oh,
channel.
wonderful. Then
Yeah.
you will send out the link, right?
Yes, we can send it out to attendees.
Yeah, that would be great because if some people, I had trouble to access into the link for some reason.
Okay. Yes, we usually send the Zoom link on the day of the event.
Yes.
So you may not have received it right away.
Yeah, that's possible.
Great. We have a couple more people joining us in the waiting room, so we'll wait for them to join in and then we'll get started.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. And for those who would like to join us on camera as well, you are welcome to. We will be recording. However, only the speakers who are speaking will be recorded. All right, so we'll move ahead and whoever would like to join us will join us afterwards. Awesome. So welcome everybody to the Building Your Career with Confidence workshop. This workshop is being recorded as mentioned. Before we begin though, just a couple housekeeping things. We'd like to ask everyone to mute themselves. That way we can have a smooth and uninterrupted time together. Thanks very much. And before we begin, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, L.E.A.D, who will read our land acknowledgement, and then we'll dive into a little bit more about our organization, the L.E.A.D org, and ourselves, your host tonight. Over to you, L.E.A.D.
Yes. Thank you, Valerie. Welcome, everyone. I'm Olamide, and I'm one of the program coordinators here. So I'm going to get started with the land acknowledgement. As treaties people on Turtle Island, we are obligated to uphold treaties made from a long time ago. Where I am situated, I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. I also want to thank the First Peoples for the ongoing teaching of how we are to learn on the land and from the land in partnership with each other, the animals, and the plants.
Thank you, L.E.A.D, for reading our land acknowledgement. And now a little bit about us at the L.E.A.D org. So if it's your first time joining us, welcome. Glad you could be here. So about the L.E.A.D org, we are a charitable nonprofit community org that provides mentoring and training for youths and adults by assisting them in furthering their education via programs, seminars, workshops, conferences, and meetings, and by helping them access pertinent support groups and resources within the community. Our mission statement is, we give individuals from youth to seniors the support to develop strategies and tools to create their own success stories. And as mentioned, my name is Valerie. I am one of the program coordinators at the L.E.A.D org, and I work alongside my amazing colleague, L.E.A.D, to create programs. And this evening, we're happy to showcase this career confidence workshop, which I will be leading. So a couple of ground rules as we engage together this evening is, please be respectful, be authentic, be open, be present, and be active. This will be an interactive experience. So if you would like to come on camera to be interactive with us, we'd appreciate it. And we will also be having conversation together and asking questions and passing the ball back and forth. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and share my other screen to get started on our presentation. One moment. Oops, sorry, one moment, wrong slide. Okay. So a quick agenda for our workshop this evening. I will give an introduction of myself, as well as tell the story of my journey of how I got into the position I am in now, working in the field of career development as a career development practitioner. Then we'll dive into the 5 ways that you can build your career with confidence, talk about overcoming imposter syndrome, and then we'll have a closing remarks series with Q&A, key takeaways, survey, and information about the upcoming events you can attend at the L.E.A.D org. So a little bit about me. Here is a quick overview. So as mentioned, I'm a program coordinator here at the L.E.A.D org. I am by profession a career development practitioner who was born and raised in Toronto by refugee parents who escaped from the Vietnam-American War. My educational background prior to working at the L.E.A.D org was I went to the University of Toronto, where I earned my Bachelor's of Arts in Women and Gender Studies, and I recently graduated from George Brown's Career Development Practitioner Program. And I'm a very strong advocate of personal and professional development, and I'm very passionate as well about community engagement and especially supporting youth with their career development. In a nutshell, what I love doing is I help youth and young professionals from diverse backgrounds who are going through periods of transition turn self-doubt into self-confidence by helping them see their unique brilliance so they can thrive in careers that are aligned with what they love. But it wasn't always this way. Let me take you on a little journey. So it starts long before 2018, but I've kind of bookmarked this as one of the key years of my career because so much that happened up until that point led me to where I am now. So just from looking at the room before I dive into my story, I see we were all from very diverse backgrounds. And like myself, you may also be a first generation Canadian. I'm first generation Canadian born. And the reason why I share this with my audience is because it has informed a lot of the work I do as well as my journey. So as I mentioned in my prior slide, my parents and family were refugees from the Vietnam War, and they came here in the 70s, 80s. Thankfully they escaped and they were able to start their lives over. Coming from this background though, like many other first generation Canadians that I have worked with over the last couple of years, I didn't have a very strong professional network, and I didn't have, other than this small cultural, close-knit community we have, I didn't have a lot of career role models outside of our community to help me see beyond what was really available. I don't know if anyone else is resonating with this. Coming from a very conservative background, my parents being refugees, oftentimes the career choices that were kind of presented to us as kids, as youth, was to be, the stereotypical doctor, lawyer, engineer. And these types of positions were really encouraged because, well, not only do they bring a lot of prestige, but also rakes in a lot of, money in terms of salary. So as refugees, is really important for us to be able to survive. So that was really one of the things that are at the forefront, but it didn't necessarily help me develop a career. So I went throughout high school and university not really having career role models or mentors. And so I went to university deciding that I really admired my teachers in high school, and I really wanted to become like them. So I decided, without knowing what it was like to be a teacher or any of that, deciding to go into university to study English to one day become a teacher so I can inspire youth just like them, which is happening now in a roundabout way. However, getting into university and being in university, that was a totally different thing because we didn't have a lot of career development growing up. I don't know if anyone went to high school in Ontario or maybe a different Canadian province, but you probably remember our grade 10 careers and civics class. Anyone remember? You can put it in the chat, but I think that was one of the only examples of career development that we received as adolescents and teens. So by the time we decided, in high school came a little later. So I found myself in that position, not really knowing about my skills and talents or having really deep knowledge of what was out there. So for a long time in my 20s, I was kind of lost about what I wanted to do with my career. However, I did know, again, like I mentioned, I wanted to teach and inspire youths. So in 2015, I decided to go to South Korea and I taught English there for 2 years. And it was amazing, a life-changing experience. I had never been there before. I had never taught before. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the people. But I decided to take a chance because I knew it would help me grow personally and professionally. And it did. So much of what I do now is related to that experience. However, it was also a very tough experience. It was a very different working culture. I was away from home for the first time. So I became very burned out, lost, and unconfident about myself. So after getting back to Toronto in 2017, I took a break and I was unemployed for over a year after 2 years of working there. Now, during that time, I decided that I really needed that time to rest. As I mentioned, super burned out. So after resting for a period about a year, I decided finally to start going out there. I started to feel more comfortable, a little more confident, and there was just this inner knowing that it was time to move forward. So I trusted that feeling. And I started to engage in personal professional development, which led me to attend an amazing event at Toronto's City Hall, where I met other youth who really want to make a difference in the community, similar to what we're doing now at the L.E.A.D org. And I remembered what I was so passionate about. And that was a really amazing feeling after feeling lost and confused for a while. And I knew I wanted to work again, but I knew I didn't want just any job. I had a lot of pressure on me from family, seeing how, I've been out of work for over a year, telling me to get a job, any job, but I knew that's not what I wanted. So I decided to seek the help of an employment advisor at a nonprofit that offered employment services. And the rest is history. So how that transitioned is I met an amazing career development practitioner who's also a graduate from George Brown. And she helped me connect the dots along my journey, and it really helped me restore my confidence. Having been out of Canada for 2 years, I really didn't know what was out there in the market. I didn't know what I could apply my skills to. I just did not have the eye that she had to be able to see how all the skills and talents aligned. Plus, I was feeling pretty down about myself, so I wasn't able to have the confidence to see that my skills were valuable. I joined an amazing youth networking and mentoring program thanks to that career development practitioner. And not long after, I was hired as a peer leader and began to coach the very same youth that I was a peer of, to teaching them how to network, coaching them, and many of them went on to get hired in the fields of their choice. And I liked it so much, having had coaches before, having been very passionate about personal development for a long time. So I decided to study and pursue career development as a career. And I went back to school at George Brown, the very same school that my employment advisor went to. And I recently graduated in person. So that was very exciting. Along the way, I met amazing mentors. Thank you, L.E.A.D. I met amazing mentors who completely changed the course of my life. So I'm also huge on mentoring. How it is going now. So a couple years later, I am now at my third nonprofit organization, the L.E.A.D org, coordinating youth career programming and having facilitated over 44 events with over 35 mentors. impacting the lives of 200 plus youth and many more during the pandemic. I am so glad that I decided to take a chance on myself and also take it further and invest in entrepreneurial programming, which led me to found L.E.A.D Career Confidence Coach last year. And now I am a sought after speaker in the field of career development, mentorship for youth and young professionals. However, it doesn't end there. The journey continues. So while my story might sound very exciting and I'm in a really great place now, there was a lot of things that happened behind the scenes that also rocked my confidence and got me to invest in my own personal development and coaching, which is where I get these 5 ways to increase your career confidence that I'm going to be presenting to you this evening. So what's ahead? So recently, the pandemic, well, I guess we're still in it, happened. And I don't know about you, but when I was in the throes of the pandemic in 2020, I found myself working more than I ever had in a long time. Does anyone else feel that way? Do you feel like you worked even more during these last 2 years? Nods, yeah. I think especially with the pandemic, not being able to go anywhere, being locked down, working from home for the first time, it was tough for a lot of people. And many of us worked even harder than ever. So me being a young millennial in the city of Toronto, I felt the need to work, and not only work, but to prove myself. So I hustled and grinded and tried to prove and stretched myself really thin. So I experienced a lot of burnout over the pandemic. And I know I can't be the only one. So anyone else here, show of hands? Frustrated, burnout, exhausted, tired. Yes, all of that. So that's where I was as well. And yet I was still moving at a very fast speed until I experienced a very traumatic car accident in November 2019, when I was actually walking across the street in a residential area and I was hit by a car. I was hit by a car and I fell really hard, and it was an accident, which was no accident, which forced me to slow down from all the grinding and forced me to recalibrate, rebalance, and really consider and prioritize my wellness in a way that I never had before. And if not for that, I would probably be grinding still and maybe shortening my lifespan. But anyway, now I'm very passionate about integrating wellness into career development as well as mindset stuff. So we're going to be talking about that more this evening, and you can look for future events from me where I will be integrating wellness. And wellness is actually my previous career path. So now I'm just meshing my 2 loves together. All right, but enough about me. I would love to hear a little bit more from the audience. And it looks like we have a smaller group tonight. So if you would like, we would love to hear from you if you'd like to unmute yourself. Or if you prefer, you can also type in the chat. So I'd love to know from you, where are you currently with your career? So what is your current career, or what are your career aspirations? Where are you currently on this career journey? For example, are you starting out? Are you in school? Are you transitioning? And the number 1 challenge that you're facing with developing your career could be your confidence. It could be don't know where to look, and so on. So I see Amelia is unmuted. So let's start with Amelia. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you for asking me. Actually, the reason why I'm here is I'm introducing a very lovely lady that I have been coaching her, and she is Canadian. Her name is Alina Chan, and I think she is here today. Right? Is she here?
Yes, I see Alina.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Hi.
And it's very encouraging that she actually is in China, and she has been living in China for a long time. And Alina, if you allow me to talk a little bit about you, or would you like to introduce yourself to Barry and the rest of the participants? Alina, would you like to do that?
Yeah, I may do a short introduction of myself.
Do a short introduction, because partly it's because of you, and I feel really great that we have an opportunity. It is a universal Zoom that Vari had do it, and then Vari, can you listen to Alina? Okay, well, Alina, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Alina Chen. I'm 20 and I'm a undergraduate student of a business school in mainland China. And thank you for Auntie Amelia to recommending me to the workshop. As I grow up within Asian educational system, I'm looking forward to having more new thinking through the workshop. Looking forward to have an unforgettable time with you. Yeah, that's all.
And Alina, do you mind I add a little bit more favor to the group about you, or what is the time frame, Vari?
Time frame for introductions?
Yes.
We like to keep it very brief because we have a whole presentation to go through, but if you could just name what is the #1 challenge that you're experiencing right now? Alina, was it like you wanted to learn a new mindset? Well, we'll leave it at that because we do have to move on for the presentations. But thank you so much, Alina, for attending and sharing. And thank you, Amelia, for introducing Alina. And thanks as well to Mitra and Needy for typing in the chat, so where they currently are. So we have a variety of people in the house from different age ranges, which is awesome. That's who we serve. And so it looks like some people are maybe in a period of transition. And I would presume having a little bit of maybe challenges with your confidence, hence you're here tonight, right? So if you have anything else to share, please share in the chat and we will move forth. All right, so this evening we'll cover 5 ways to build your career confidence. And as mentioned, a lot of this stuff comes from the self-work that I have done and the many coaches that have coached me. So a lot of stuff is tried and true, and I'm so excited to share them with you this evening. So the first one is self-knowledge. Know thyself. It's the beginning of all wisdom. Number 2, explore your options. Number 3, take action and get in the game. Number 4, trust the process. And number 5, build new neural pathways with something we call the AAGs. Okay, so number 1, self-knowledge, know thyself. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. It's super important to know what our values, skills, strengths, and interests are so that we are better equipped to build careers that are in alignment with those things. So in terms of your values, skills, and strengths, what are your values? In the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself, please name your top 3 values. So for example, mine would be freedom. Yes, thank you, Lemonade. Values are things that are important to you. Community and So I've typed mine in the chat. My values are freedom, community, and growth. I'd love to know about your values. Perhaps we align in many ways. And what about your skills? What are your top 3 skills? Okay, awesome. Mitra, looks like we have some very similar values. And what are your top 3 skills? I would say my coaching facilitation. Awesome. Thank you, Calamity, for sharing. Calamities is kindness, freedom, and family. So we have some very similar values as well. Great. And what are your skills? So, okay, awesome. So it's nice to hear about Mitra's skills, communication skills, social skills, reflective. Needy says family, financial independence and growth are their values. But my skills, I put coaching, facilitation, communication. Awesome. All right, what about your strengths? What are your top 3 strengths? And now they might be kind of similar to your skills. And we all have them. Yeah. So they're kind of similar, skills and strengths. What would you say the difference is? Would anyone like to share? So strengths, I would say, kind of something that comes to you very naturally and is already there. I mean, it could be similar to a skill, but when skills come to mind, it sounds like something that you can work on and get better. Strengths you can do as well, but it's something that's so natural and innate to you. So I would say that's the main difference between the two. So we have some amazing skilled folks in the room. So Needy says time management, attention to detail, and communication skills. That's an amazing skill set. And then Mitra says friendship, communication, and being open-minded. That's wonderful. So it sounds like those are your key strengths. And so I'm going to move forward to the next point, which is honing and owning your strengths. So why this is a point on there is often we are told to focus on our weaknesses and improve our weaknesses. Has anyone heard that before, or maybe be guided on that, have been guided on that before, to focus in on developing your weaknesses? Okay, I see some nods. Yes. So while that's very important, as we all have areas of development, including myself, I really want you to hone and own your strengths, because that's a way that you can develop your confidence. If we're constantly focusing on what our weaknesses are and that we have to get better and hone it, then it can sometimes take a damper on our self-confidence and our self-esteem. Whereas honing and owning what comes naturally to us and making it even stronger, it's going to allow us to feel more buoyant, more confident. And what are some ways that you can hone and own your strengths? Sharpen the saw, like the 7 habits Stephen Covey says. For example, if you're already really strong at communication, but you want to get even better, what are some things that you would do? For example, take a course. Great. All right, I'm going to move on to the next point, is knowing your personality and mode of operation. So has anyone here taken a personality assessment before? Okay, Alamity, can you tell us more about this personality assessments you've taken? And yes, good one. I love that you said put yourself in positions to grow in that area. That's one way that you can really hone and own your strengths. And I love what Mitra shared as well, believing in ourselves and upskilling. Yes, I love that believing in ourselves part. We're going to talk about it more after this. Great. And Zoom user says communication skills, easy to communicate, and kindness. Awesome. Looks like we have some great communicators here. Okay, so L.E.A.D, would you like to share about the personality tests that you've taken?
Yeah, so the one that I have taken is the common one, the Myers-Briggs type indicator. And I think it was very helpful because you sort of understand why you are the way you are. But obviously, it's not like the end all be all. It's just sort of like a direction into knowing who you are and then how you want to operate and know the type of careers you want to go into and type of things you're interested in as well.
Great, thank you. And L.E.A.D, would you like to share your personality type?
Yeah, sure. So I am an INFJ. Yeah.
Great. So tell us a little bit more about what is this INFJ personality like?
Yeah, so apparently it's the rarest type, which I found interesting. And then um we're more introverted, reflective, and we care a lot about other people, which sort of makes sense when I think about type of relationships I've had in the past. But I also feel like the understanding that sort of allowed me to know that okay, in some cases I might need to put some boundaries in place to protect my energy. But it's very easy to feel like, oh, you can change everyone and change everything, but also understanding that I'm just one person and it's more of like a collaborative effort to do anything. So I think it's very helpful too.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, L.E.A.D. I'm a very similar personality type. I am a ISFJ, so I can really relate to what you shared about being, more introspective, introverted, really caring. And it's amazing that you shared when you understood your personality type a little more, it allowed you to grow and also protect your energy, which is super important, especially when you're that sensitive introvert like myself. Right. Has anyone else ever also taken the Myers-Briggs personality test and want to share their type in the chat? Or if there's any other assessments that you've taken that have been really helpful for you. This is a community, so we'd love to share any resources. There are a couple more that I recommend, and you can get the free version online. This assessment called the VIA Strengths will give you your top 25 strengths in a report. And there's also the Clifton Gallup Strengths. I think there might be a free version. It's usually paid, but you may be able to get a free version. And the mode of operation. So this is something that I found very helpful. I did not find out about this until a few years ago via my mentor, who let me know about the Colby assessment. Now that's a paid assessment, but if you are able to get it done, it shows your mode of operation, which is different from your personality. It talks about how you operate. So if you were to be given a task, you and another person may approach it completely differently. So knowing about how you approach a task, how you approach work can be really helpful. For example, I am very high. You will get a score at the end. I'm very high in the fact finder category. So I usually gather all my facts and information before I make a move, where someone who is stronger in the quick start category, they don't need all that information. They will sometimes go ahead first and do it, and then they figure things out on the way down. So the pandemic for me was quite a time because I'm a natural fact finder, and I had to build things out before I knew all the information. So it was a little overwhelming, but a good exercise in becoming a little bit more quick at starting. All right, and of course, do what comes naturally and easily for you. Now, this has been my motto, especially this year, after all the burnout and grinding. Let it be easy, or L.E.A.D for short, as an acronym. Success can come as a result of ease, grace, and flow. Now, this is something I kind of learned the hard way. As I mentioned, it took me literally getting into a serious car accident to force me to slow down and realize I do not need to grind my way to success. And I mentioned this as well because it's so important and so much easier when we do what comes naturally to us. So earlier you mentioned your strengths, your skills. Those are all things that come easily to you. What else comes easily to you? And now these might be things that you might even overlook because it comes so naturally or so easily that you don't even realize that is actually a strength or a talent. So love to see in a chat what comes easily to you and maybe surprised. Or if you're unsure, maybe think about what your friends or maybe close colleagues have said that you're really good at that you didn't even realize. How about Ebony? Ebony, if you're there, we'd love to hear you share. Or let's see, Hannah, not sure if you're there. Would you like to share? But something that comes naturally to you. Needy says kindness. Thank you for sharing, Needy. Ah, I love it. Okay, Ebony says, I find creating systems and having structures come naturally to me. Wow. So what about everyone else? Does creating systems and having structure come naturally or easily to you? Me, I would say kind of, I think because I'm a fact finder and I'm an architect in my mind. So I often create systems and structures. I just want to, really praise Ebony because that is a skill that not everybody has and is also a huge asset to many organizations and companies. And Amelia says, after we identify our own talents, then find out our potential and what we are good at and your passion, it makes things easier and becomes very natural. And Mitra says, what comes easily is being detail-oriented and organized, having a plan for everything. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So I'm so happy that you recognize this in yourself and keep honing it. All right. So moving forward to number 2, exploring your options. So this comes out of career development theory. So a couple of things that you can do to build your career confidence is doing a little exploration. So that could be through occupational research, for example, looking up what roles might be suitable for you. Now that could even come out of doing an assessment, and oftentimes like the Myers-Briggs, they list different occupations that could be suitable for your personality type. Networking, informational interviews. So what would be the benefit of these things? For example, can anyone share what is the benefit of networking? Why not just stick to reading about jobs on the internet and applying for jobs online? Ebony, would you like to share? What are some of the benefits of networking?
I'd say a benefit for sure is not a lot of things even get posted online. So you might meet someone who knows of a role that's like a beginner role, or like they know like the right department or people to get you to the direct decision maker. So that's more important than just seeing like the posts on LinkedIn on jobs and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The nail on the head with that one, Ebony. As well as Needy and Mitra in the chat says, the benefit there is it gives you access to the hidden job market that you may not even know about, as well as, yes, exactly, expanding your professional ties, know more people in your field of career, and get connected to persons in existing roles. Yes, I see a hand up, a Zoom user. And
yes.
hi. Sorry, your name?
My name is Hawa Mohammed.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Yeah, I want to share something about.
Sure.
You get more exposure. You meet different people, and we share. Yes.
Awesome. So yes, that pretty much covers the benefits: is meeting new people, knowing about others' views. That's right. And What about informational interviews? Who has done an informational interview before?
So I was working as a customer service in international airports, but it's not here in my country, Tanzania.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. And did that help with do you have a story to share with informational interviews or networking?
Um,
Thank you, Hawa. I really
okay.
appreciate you introducing yourselves. So tell me about informational interviews. Who has done one before or what it
No, no.
is? Okay, no problem. So if you haven't done one before, anyone who has want to share? Mitra says it's necessary and useful to get information about your search. Absolutely, Mitra.
Yeah, this is something that I think we need when we are newcomers coming here to the new environment setting, and we are looking to find the job which is related to our own field or the career that we did before. So this is really a good way to know more about the rules, the policies, how it works. So I've been to a couple of them years ago, and I found them really useful because it gave me general knowledge about for example, my field is adult education, so teaching mostly at colleges, universities. So it was really helpful to be just familiar with how the system of higher education is working here, and also some specific information about, for example, the hiring procedure, the upskilling, for example, program, because we've been all of us, I'm sure that we've been through all of these, let's say hardships to get to where we stand, and still maybe some of us were not happy, or we're not getting whatever we plan to get or to achieve. And I don't know when it's going to be ended. It seems like searching for jobs, looking for jobs, applying for jobs to get whatever you desire, this is something like never ending. And sometimes it really hurts me, and I feel that nobody recognizes you and your abilities. And when you compare yourself with the others out there, then you see that okay, the people, the committee, the panelists, the interviewers, they are looking for what features that you don't have. And then you just go through whatever you have done. When you talk to people who are expert in the field, they say that okay, you are, for example, overqualified for the job. So if I'm overqualified for a job, do you expect me just to put them aside, to hide them? No, I don't, because I have done a lot to get them, right? So this is something that even I'm very outspoken, very open-minded, very optimistic. But to be honest with you, sometimes I get disappointed, depressed, lose my energy, lose my motivation. And I said that, okay, I'm not going to apply for any more jobs, but I need it, right? And many more. Okay, I'm not going to complain, but listen to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mitra, for sharing.
You're welcome, my dear.
Empathize with your frustrations as a job seeker.
Yeah.
It is a job in itself, trying to find more jobs or develop your career, and it could be really challenging and disheartening, which can really have an impact on our confidence, right? So hence I created this workshop. So hopefully what we learn about tonight together will help you develop your career confidence and uplift your spirit as you go through the job search.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
All right, so a couple more things in exploring your options is looking at industry trends and being resourceful. So I think the majority of us are in the Greater Toronto area. Anyone else in the Greater Toronto area? Me? Okay, great. So being in Toronto, I gotta say we have a ton of amazing resources, many of which are free as well, including our workshops here at the L.E.A.D org. So take advantage of all the amazing professional development that our city offers and the amazing networking opportunities, and doesn't have to be confined to a geographical space. During the course of the pandemic, I actually networked more than ever, and it was all online. So yes, be resourceful in many ways. All right, and be open to the possibilities. Know that what you seek is seeking you, and embrace the unknown, which can be really frustrating at times while you're on the job search. So this may sound like fluff, but I want to highly encourage you to continue to be open to the possibilities that are out there, and keep, the faith, knowing that the opportunity is around the corner. And you can also create your own opportunities, and I highly encourage you to do so by the next point, getting in the game. So this portion is about taking action. Do I have any other recovering perfectionists here? Or if you're not recovering, you're still perfectionist, that's totally okay too. I'm calling myself recovering because I am recovering, okay. Or any overthinkers? I used to be the overthinking queen, a little less now. Or anyone ever been affected by what's called analysis paralysis? Okay, so it can definitely be easy to slip into those modes, especially when you're facing challenges, right? So I want to talk about taking imperfect and inspired action. So as recovering perfectionists, oftentimes want to wait till everything is perfect, it's the right time, all the ducks are in a row to make a move. But the fact is, nothing in life is 100% or totally perfect. So by getting caught up in that perfectionism, oftentimes that's going to stop us from moving forward. So I encourage you all to just start. It could be the hardest step, but you gotta just start. Doesn't have to be perfect, could be messy, so that you can get the ball rolling. And although we're talking about getting in the game, you do not need to be on your A game. You don't even need to be on your B game. You could be on your C or your D plus game. I think there's a lot of talk about, live your best life, bring your A game, be your best, la-di-da. But when it comes to taking action, remember, C's get degrees. You don't need to have an A+ effort. You just need to have a little bit of effort, imperfect, messy action. Just begin. Just want to check in with everybody. How's this message landing? Has anyone ever gotten caught up in that analysis paralysis and not made a move because maybe you're too scared? Me. All right, so the other thing is, you don't need to know the whole path ahead. Just take the next step, and the path will reveal itself as you go. And just continue to show up and pay attention. So I'm gonna call upon L.E.A.D, my amazing colleague. Would you like to, what are some ways that, because I know we've been working together for a while and we're very similar. I'm an ISFJ, she's an INFJ. And so we have kind of similar tendencies. What are some ways that you have overcome this analysis paralysis?
I think like what you said with just starting is something I've just tried to do with like the little things I have on my to-do list. And I saw this post on social media the other day where it's like what people think it means when you show up to something. It's like having like a full, let's say it's a cup of glass, thinking it's full the whole time. But sometimes showing up just means like you were saying, just coming up with your C game or something. Just build consistency over time, and then from there, like things will get better. So that's something I'm trying to do. Just start. You might not have everything perfect, or have everything the way you want it to be, but just start somewhere, and then from there, once you've built the consistency, other things are going to follow from there.
Ooh, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that point, that you don't need to have like 100% efforts to go for it. You just need to start, and that builds. Okay, awesome. And what is meant by pay attention is as you go along and you show up and you're on this journey, you might get some signs along the way. Now, this might sound a little woo-woo. I'm kind of into that, by the way. But as you go along, you may see some signs that are pointing towards the fact that you are on the right path. Synchronicities, maybe you have some nudges, maybe you meet someone that helps you. Has anyone ever experienced this before? No, maybe you didn't realize. Ebony, have you ever experienced this before? Maybe meeting us at the L.E.A.D org?
Yeah, I found like when I even met you guys for the group, like it was a perfect timing, but right before I graduated, when I was really starting to think about like where is my career going to lead. So yeah, I really found this really valuable.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Ebony. So Ebony is actually one of our career camp program alumni, and she joined us through a mutual connection, referring her to us right before her graduation. So what can I say? It's the mystery of life that you get connected with amazing opportunities. So when you get those coincidences or those connections, pay attention. Shows you that you're on the right path. Okay. And so, all right. And Mitra in the chat says, one thing I learned here, if you are so lucky to meet the right person in the time and place, then it happens to you. It happens to you, happens for you. Yes. Great. And I'm sure we've all heard of the saying, knowledge is power. So I want to take it a step further. It says knowledge becomes power when you apply it. All right, so I have a feeling I'm in a room with a lot of learners. I think I am not alone in that. So who here loves learning? Me? Yes. I'm sure Alina and Ebony as well as L.E.A.D. So I'm also, kind of the bookish type, and I like to learn a lot, but I was almost getting caught up in the learn. But we got to learn and apply, because that's when we were really able to apply our knowledge and get the power from what we learned. And also want to leave you with this quote, inspired by Mary Folio: everything is figure outable. So my perfectionists in the house and my people who are affected by analysis paralysis, we got to remember that everything is figure outable. So what does that mean to you? Have you ever been in a place where you didn't know the answers at first, but then with your skill, with your talent, you figured it out, you were connected with the right people? Alina, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yes, Alina, would you like to share anything? It could be about what you've been learning so far with us tonight.
or yeah, and I'm now a business school student, and and I'm now on my gap year, so I'm seeking what major should I to learn through my undergraduate program. So yeah, I think myself to be a little overthinking. So I don't know how to balance yeah, in thinking and overthinking.
Okay, that is a question that I have also asked myself. Thank you, Alina, for sharing. So I'd love to ask the audience, since we kind of identified ourselves as these, thinkers and overthinkers earlier, do you have any tips that you have used to help you overcome this overthinking or analysis paralysis? I have a tip. I'll talk about it in the next couple slides though, but I'd love to hear from the audience. What has helped stop you from getting sucked into that overthinking? Oh, walking. Okay, excellent. Walking, yoga, meditation. I love all three as well. I took a walk by the lake this morning, and I also practiced yoga meditation regularly. So, Mitra, do you want to talk a little bit more about how those activities help you?
I was actually, typing,
Okay.
adding, to walking, yoga, and meditation, sometimes talking with a friend who is a great listener, just,
Yes.
Listening to us
Yeah.
without, judging us or trying, just to give us some advice, because we need, someone to be great listener and attentive. So walking, yoga, and meditation, this is, something that I've been doing, for long years. So when I get, really distressed or when I'm really tired, at the end of the day, so this is, my plan, going out, having at least, a 2-hour walk. I sometimes even, go for longer hours, but I know that this is not good for my feet. I got, the pain. So I try, to balance it, and I do, yoga and meditation. I used to do it in group, but now I just do it, solo at home. And I love it. It really, keeps me calm, quiet, peace of mind. It looks like, giving me the energy, re-energizing, myself. So these are, the things, sometimes, reading a book, watching a movie. So we can have, different, let's say, things, but these are, the three commonest ones that work for me. Wonderful. Specifically. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Mitra.
You're welcome.
I also found it works for me. And if anyone else, if you'd like to type in the chat, what are maybe 3 activities that you do to help you, maybe calm your mind when you are in that state of overthinking or stress, anxiety, perfectionism? Amelia says, as we obtain our knowledge and experience, when we see situations, we can be creative and able to figure out solutions. It is also a practice. I agree. Lately, I have been really enjoying learning about neuroscience. Anyone else here nerdy about neuroscience? Okay, me. We're going to be doing a neuroscientific type activity shortly. Oh yes, Needy. I also love a good motivational speaker. What is the latest motivational speaker that you're really into right now, Needy? Or anyone else into motivational talks? Me. My latest is Mel Robbins. I listened to her LinkedIn course on confidence, and I also downloaded her audiobook after that because I liked it so much. Oh, awesome. Alina says many times she waits for the time to pass or plays the piano. Okay, so Mitra says some TED Talks. Hey, if you have a must listen to TED Talk or must listen to motivational speech and you want to type it in the chat so we can check it out after, feel free to do so. Share the inspo. Awesome. And there's neuroscience behind doing those things, especially the walking, the yoga, and the meditation. You're literally giving your brain time to just like come down from all of it. You're getting into the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's that part of the nervous system where you shift into the sage-like brain, the inner Buddha type brain, right? And our brains need that space and the calm to think and come up with new creative solutions that we can't do when we are in that constant fight or flight mode. Awesome. Okay. So moving forth, my fourth tip is trust the process. So I think, Mitra, you mentioned earlier that, it's always constant, applying for jobs. So careers are a lifelong and non-linear journey. I think we've been conditioned to believe that it's kind of like, okay, you go to school, you get a good job, you get married, have a family, voila. But careers can be up and down. I'm probably onto my fourth career right now. So knowing that it is non-linear. So you heard about my story earlier. Is there anyone else who would like to share maybe a little brief synopsis about their career journey or where their journey is headed? Maybe Ronnie, we haven't heard from you yet. Do you want to share? L.E.A.D, would you like to share about your career journey? I've heard a bit about it, so I'm calling on you because it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, sure. So I'm still sort of in my career journey, but I think like it's also enjoying the process because you just never know the detours you're gonna face in life. So a little bit about me is I'm interested in entering the medical field, and anyone that grew up here knows how difficult it is to get into med school here. It's like nearly impossible. But I just keep remembering like the sacrifices my family made to move all of us here from Nigeria, and then knowing that they want a better life for us, right? So um though I haven't gotten any yet, I also realized my other passions along the way, and that's in like technology and healthcare. And I'm actually starting a master's in September in that field. So I'm really enjoying the journey to get in there, and I'm no longer like pausing my life, until that thing happens. I'm rather just enjoying it along the way. So that's just a little bit about me. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. Yes, Mitra and I are so happy to hear this amazing journey. I love what you shared, that along the way, that's when you learned about your other passions, right? And you're not waiting until, when I get in to really enjoy, because life is short and it is a journey. They say life, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey along the way and about who we become on the way as well. So although it may have veered off from what you originally planned, it's turning out maybe even better than what you had imagined. So that's why I encourage everyone to continue to have faith and trust the process. And Amelia shares, I strongly feel the process is very important. It does not necessarily only look into the success process. The process of the current failure is a process. Yes, it's part of the journey of preparing another step to be mature and lead us to future success. Yes, love it, Amelia, which brings me to my next point. Believing is half the battle. Right? It's almost like a mind game. Our success, we really need to have that belief. As corny as it could sound, is really important to believe that, it doesn't even have to be believe in yourself, but believe that there is something better coming for you. And as Amelia mentioned about failure is first attempt in learning, FAIL. But yet so many of us are afraid of it. So I hope that by sharing this acronym kind of helps bring down that fear factor. And Mitra shares, the process gives us the chance of witnessing our growth and improvement. Remember the ageism as well. So yes, it's also challenges in our, Western, North American, very capitalistic system. Definitely those systemic barriers and oppression exist. Yes, it's also important to acknowledge that as much as we talk about personal development, there are some things that I don't know if I want to say like we can't change, but there are also, it's very important to acknowledge that those systemic inequalities are also there. All right, and just like in the picture, you see a little plant growing out of the concrete. It's not a place that plants usually grow, but they definitely can. So plant seeds, nurture them, and trust that it will grow. when we plant a seed, we don't dig up the dirt every couple days to see if it's growing. And we also don't just leave the seed there to dry up. We plant the seed, we water it, and we trust that underground could be quiet, but we know that action is happening. So as we move along through different seasons of our lives, it may not be for, you might plant something in the fall, but it's not going to grow until the summertime, because the same day that we plant the seed is not the same day that we eat the fruit, but we trust that it's going to grow and be fruitful. And just like Amelia mentioned earlier, everything you're going through now is preparation for greater things that you may not see or at the time, but just trust knowing that whatever you're going through, even if you're going through the ringer, it's prime fertilizer for that future garden with lots of fruits. All right. So I want to encourage you all, as you're going through these periods of transition, whether it's like Alina, you know, you're in school, you're trying to decide what major or focus you want to focus on, or you're going through a career transition, you've just graduated, you're trying to get your break, give yourself the space and grace, because growth takes time to integrate. And any major thing that we go through in life, any major event, could be graduating, could be you know, transitioning, maybe we just left a toxic environment. It's going to take some time for whatever we experience to integrate. And catching up in the chat, failure is more impressive for me. I learned a lot from failure. Thank you so much, Alina, for sharing that. Would you like to share more? While you do, I'm listening. I'm just going to change my blinds so I don't look faded.
Yeah, I would like to take myself learning mathematics courses as an example. During my freshman year in university, there are many mathematics courses in my program. In my middle school time, I perform well in mathematics, but when I go to university, I find that I'm not good at mathematics, and so I rethink myself and find that I may use, and maybe you can say one way to, or I can get the skill of learning mathematics. So I'm trying many others way or method to learn the courses. So yeah, it gave me many thinkings, and I rethink the major I should choose. So I think failure is very meaningful to me. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alina, for sharing that. Failure is a learning opportunity, because how else would you know otherwise, right? Great. And yes, thank you, Misha, for sharing. It's a very important part of learning and growth. Okay, so we're going to move forward. Another thing I want to share is that your current circumstances don't determine your future. So has anyone heard about the power of yet? This is something I picked up along the way of my personal development journey. Adding the word yet to, you know, whatever statement you're making out loud. For example, I don't have a job yet. I haven't gone to my choice school yet. I'm not there yet. Do you see a difference in the way it sounds and feels when you add yet? Anyone want to share their thoughts on that, or if there is any other tips that you want to add that helps you be more confident? Alina?
Yeah. My thinking on yet is still the opportunity or chance that I can achieve something. Yeah, because I am young, or I can be positive to our environment surrounding me. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, thank you, Alina, for sharing. So
Yeah.
using the power of yet, it kind of opens you up for greater opportunities, right? Because you're not shutting things off, right? So know that the best is yet to come. All right, so our very last tip is build your confidence by building new neural pathways. So this is the neuroscience that we can use to help us gain confidence and build confidence. And there is a tool that we've used in our previous career camps, and that my mindset coach, shout out to my coach Joe, who helped me with this. This is a tool that we can use that starts to build that new neural pathway and groove in our brain. So I see some nods. So those of you who are also interested in neuroscience, you may be familiar with neuroplasticity, neural pathways. Does anyone want to share about neuroplasticity, what you know about it? All right, so Alamedy, do you want to share what you know about neuroplasticity?
It's mostly just about knowing that our brain can be trained the same way that, because just like plastic, you can sort of bend it, the same way our brain is flexible. So the way we train it truly helps us in the future. So, for example, if we want to be more positive, we have to incorporate different things in our everyday routine to change the way our brain works so we can become more positive. If we want to be more disciplined, we have to train our brain to be more disciplined. So it's just knowing that the brain can be changed. It's an efficient way of learning things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was a great definition of neuroplasticity. So we're going to be doing this neuroplasticity game changer live. It's called the AAGs. So as listed, accomplishments, self-appreciations, and gratitudes. So when we focus in on these three key areas, it starts to build a new neural pathway or groove in our mind, because what they say, what we focus on expands. So I am a big journaler. I like journaling. Anyone here like to journal or keep a record by writing? And it doesn't have to be in a journal. If you prefer audio notes or some other form, that's one way you can record it. So what I do is I try to do this on a nightly basis. I've been doing this for about a year now, and I can say that it has actually trained me to become more positive and actually look for the good. So we can all practice this together now. We can name one accomplishment. So a win for the day. It could be something as simple as, I got out of bed this morning, I took a shower, I took a walk, I practiced yoga. Or it could even be something like, I graduated from my program this spring. I made my own food instead of ordering out. That could be an accomplishment, right? And then self-appreciations is different from gratitudes. Gratitudes, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's what you're grateful for. Self-appreciations is when you start to appreciate yourself. So what is one thing that you appreciate about yourself, right? Could be, I am an open-minded and kind person. I'm a good listener. I really appreciate myself for coming here tonight and learning. And gratitude could be, I'm very grateful to the L.E.A.D org for hosting this free event. So I would love to hear about your AAGs. So if you want to type in the chat one thing that you have accomplished today, one thing that you appreciate about yourself, and one thing you're grateful for. Let's start there. Okay, awesome. Misha did an hour exercise today. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Keep it coming. Want to hear your AAGs. All right, Alana says she drank lots of water today. That's really good. And what's one thing you
Yeah,
appreciate? Yes, Alina?
Yeah, and now is the morning in my position, so I get up early today.
Okay,
Yeah.
you got up early today. That's awesome. Okay, great. I love it. Needy. Okay, Needy says, I'm guessing this is your self-appreciation is irrespective of home chores, I take an hour for myself. That's awesome. And Ebony says she's been reading 10 pages a day. That's really good. What else? Keep it coming. Love to hear your AAGs. And I also want to ask Ebony, because she was our participant in our career camp where we actually introduce our participants to the AAGs. Ebony, would you like to share how doing this practice helped transform your mind over time? Like, did you notice a difference?
Yeah, I would say this really helps, like, because often, like, life is very stressful, so it's easy to forget, like, the good things. So like, really recognizing this, and when you take, like, if someone else said taking, like, an hour for yourself, and you can really slow down and think about these things, like, it's very important in recognizing the positives as well.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Ebony. I'm so happy to hear that this regular practice really helped transform things for you. And yeah, it really does help you to keep that positive focus. Awesome. Yes, Alina is up quite early. It's 5:30 a.m. Over there. So yes, that's a huge accomplishment. Thank you, Alina, for coming. And Ronnie said, help the student improve her resume. That's awesome. And love that Mitra says, I always appreciate myself for whoever I am and whatever I do. Yes, love it. Wonderful. So I encourage everyone to continue to do this over the course of, I would say, the rest of this week. Get into a habit, maybe jot it down even before bed, and just observe. See how you feel. It may take a couple more practices to feel the differences, but I really hope that it transforms things for you. Great. So this is a tip I want to add, self-credentialize. So we have often been conditioned in our society to wait for somebody else to validate us. First, when we were little, it was our parents, and sometimes still as adults, our parents, teachers, friends, schools, bosses. We're waiting for some type of external validation for us to feel good about ourselves or know that we're doing a good job. I know I have been there, and I know I'm not alone in this. So recently I heard about this really great tip from a coaching summit where they encouraged us to credentialize ourselves. And it sounds simple, but it's also mind-blowing at the same time. So what could this mean? Self-credentialize. So how would you put it? You can type in the chat. Okay. So self-credentializing, I would say it's about giving yourself that credit, giving yourself that validation that you are amazing and you are doing amazing work. And the AAGs can definitely help us with that. And so when you're going forward in job interviews or meeting new people in professional settings, I want you to come from this grounded place where you are credentializing yourself. You walk in there knowing that you do have what it takes and that you are that amazing, well-rounded person. All right, so I'm winding down for the evening now. One bonus thing I want to add was about overcoming the good old imposter syndrome. So I see some nods. Who here has felt this imposter syndrome before? All right, so I think that's the majority of us. Okay, oh, and Mitra adds, as human beings, it is in our nature to be recognized and appreciated by others. But again, this is something we learn through time to self-credentialize. I love it, yes. It's totally natural as human beings. We're human, we want to be liked. We want people's approval, but the most important thing is to credentialize, validate, love, and approve of ourselves. What's one way that we can overcome this imposter syndrome, right? Something that I picked up from another coach, which really stood out for me, was to know that the gap between who you are and who you want to be will close. Just like in the picture, it's good. Oftentimes we focus so much on that gap, how far we have to go, that we forget how far we've come and we forget what we're capable of, right? And then sometimes we can become so future oriented and think about, our future selves, forgetting that we already are that future self that we want. So one way that we can begin to close that gap is to start maybe walking, talking, acting like that person that you want to be in the future. And knowing that, well, it's already you. You're just the younger version of it right now. Now, that's a whole other topic. We'll probably do a whole workshop just on imposter syndrome itself, because it is a syndrome that many people suffer from. Great. But for now, the time is 7:33, so we need to wind things down with some closing remarks. We also have a survey as well. Thank you, L.E.A.D, for sharing it in the chat. But I would love to leave you with a few closing quotes that are my favorites. So this one is from an African-American author named Zora Neale Hurston. I used to be an English major, by the way, when I was in university before switching. So I'm gonna read you some literary quotes. So this quote goes, "There are years that ask questions and years that answer." So I want to encourage you, if you currently are in that year where you are really confused, really frustrated, see no end in sight, hang in there, keep trusting the process, because as much as there are years that ask questions, there are also years that answer, and your answer is coming. So hold on. And this is, oh, you're very welcome, Mitra. Thank you for coming. And I love this quote as well. "I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and to try to love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer." And that's from Rainer Maria Rilke. So yes, with that, I would love to hear about any questions that you have. If you want to share what came up for you as you heard those literary quotes. Are you finding yourself in that year right now? What year are you currently in? Are you finding yourself in that year where you're asking questions? Perhaps you're in the year where all the answers to the questions are being asked. Any other questions before we wind down? I'm also available to connect with you offline. I'll give you my contact information shortly. And I'd love to hear from the audience. What is the #1 takeaway you received from the workshop? So you're welcome to unmute yourself or type it in the chat. Love to hear what you're taking away from participating tonight. I am going to call upon folks to make it faster. Mitra, since you're already.
Yeah, I liked, the self-credentialize. So it means that even, you fail, you are not successful at any stage in your life, but still believe in yourself, your strength, work on your weaknesses, and self-credentialize. It means that you have something that maybe, for sure, others don't have it, right? Because we are human beings, we have educational backgrounds, whatever, we are different, but at the same time, this is, something that I possess, so I have to be proud of it. And whatever I have done, and that's, what I said earlier, I'm always thankful to myself for whoever I am and whatever, I do. So thank you so much. It was really informative, good. And I think, 9 of us attending, this workshop. So it shows that we are committed. We are really want, to learn something new. So that's the reason of just, joining this workshop. And thank you so much to you and L.E.A.D. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Mitra. Thank you for joining. I'm really happy to hear that it was so informative for you. And yes, that's a good one. Self-credentialize. I thought that too. Awesome. So a couple more shares. Yes. I'm glad, Ebony, you wrote down the quote. And for Needy, it touched everything you were looking for. You're very welcome. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so how to connect with me? I am available at by email at valerie.theleadorg@gmail.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn as Valerie L.E.A.D Career Confidence Coach. And we have a couple announcements, so hang in there. We're not quite done yet. I'm going to stop sharing. You're very welcome, Amelia. I'm glad that you enjoyed. And you also asked me earlier what books I recommend. So many. I'm a really big fan of audiobooks. I don't know about you, but nowadays I prefer to listen to the books, and I can do that while I'm on the go as well. So the latest audiobooks I am listening to is Mel Robbins. I believe it's like she has a couple, but it is like the 5 Habits. If you look it up, you'll find her book. All right. So there is a survey. We really appreciate you coming tonight, and it was a free event. So in exchange, we would love to get your feedback. Here it is on the screen. So if you want to scan with your phone, feel free to scan the QR code. L.E.A.D has also put the feedback form link in the chat, and we have prizes. So you will be entered to win a raffle once you complete it, and we're a small group, so it's a smaller pool, so you might be able to win. So we'll give you a moment to fill it out. Oh, you're very welcome, Alina. I'm really glad to hear you learned many new ideas. I'm happy to share. Okay. So normally we give a couple minutes during the presentation, but I know the time is running a little late. It's 7:39 right now. So I would just ask you to please fill it out after, because we'd love to hear from you. And since you liked the workshop so much tonight, we want to host another one in the future. So I actually would love to know what other topics you'd like to learn about. If you want to enter it in the chat, you're welcome to do so now. We also have a blank space in the form where you can fill it out. I'd love to hear what you'd like to learn about so we can plan accordingly. Okay, how to ace the interview. We also bring in expert guest speakers. who have collaborated with us to speak about events. So we might even be able to bring in a guest speaker to talk about how to ace the interview or any other topic. And since you enjoyed our event today, we have some upcoming events. This one here is with Empower. I'm going to pass it to L.E.A.D to announce.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so on Wednesday, July 27th, we're having an information session with Empower Canada. Has anyone here heard about them before? No? Okay, yeah, so they're a tech-based teaching company. So what they do is they offer free IT training to youth and adults age 18 plus. So they have a cohort starting in September and they're currently getting applications. So they're going to come and talk more about the programs, talk about the application process, as well as different things you can apply for. If there's anything the pandemic has taught us is that the tech industry is booming a lot. It's known as one of the fastest growing fields in Canada. So if you're really learning about how to merge into that field, what to do to get into the field and everything, Empower Canada will definitely answer your questions. And all the programs are free as well. So come check us out at the information session to learn more about it. I'm just going to post the link to register right now so that you can register for it. Valerie, you can continue.
Okay, great. And we have an in-person LEAD program coming up this August. Yay! Finally, we get to come together in person and learn, and you will be able to develop your leadership abilities and career confidence. This program is especially for youth age 15 to 30 in the Greater Toronto area. So it's going to be the first 4 Wednesdays in August, all day from 10 to 3, and free lunches included. We're going to have recess as well, and you get to learn from L.E.A.D and I. We will be facilitating career development workshops in the afternoons, and it's open for registration for those in the public. We will be sending our mailing list the registration form in the near future so that you can register in time for our deadline of Monday, July 25th. So look out for that so you could continue to learn. So if you liked what you learned today, you could join our 4-week program and take an even deeper dive and explore even more topics. And we have the amazing Lisa Kelly coming to present with us in August. Has anyone ever made a vision board before? Anyone? I've made the cut and paste from a magazine vision board. This is going to be the digital version, which is super handy because you can pretty much copy and paste it digitally everywhere. You can have on your phone, you have your computer as your screensaver, so you always look at it. So we have the amazing coach, Lisa Kelly. She's going to teach you how to do it yourself and make your own digital vision board. Thursday, August 11th from 7 to 8, highly recommended. Then we are going to have another career confidence event workshop in August, time to be decided, as well as topic. We want to create a event that is based on your needs. So we're still deciding. And we'd love for you to follow us on social media. Pass it to L.E.A.D to talk about.
So we're on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So on our YouTube channel, if you go on there, you see the past workshops that we've hosted that were recorded and re-uploaded for you to catch up on. So those workshops range from the financial literacy workshops to the career development workshops as well. So catch up with that as well. And then on Twitter, we're on Twitter at _the_L.E.A.D.org and on Instagram at @CanLead.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry, for that. All right, and with that, we can close out for the evening. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. You could have been anywhere on this evening here in Toronto, but you decided to take the time to learn with us. So that's a huge investment and big success. So I think everyone needs to thank themselves for taking the time to invest in themselves and their growth. And we look forward to being in touch with you and hope to see you at our future events.